How can Earn It All be a $100 million enterprise value business in the next 5 to 7 years? What's different about your value proposition?
There's more influencers than there are professionals inside of the fitness industry. They hook them in, basically, like, you have to stay in front of me or you're gonna fail. But that's how they get their monthly recurring revenue, and that's how they do all this kind of stuff, but it's not results driven.
Those that are in the industry that truly are leading with knowledge and with their heart are gonna win.
Yeah.
Here's where the hard part comes. How do you scale that? Tell me about Earn It All as far as what the product is and how you position it differently, because I think it's a noisy, crowded space with a bunch of maniacs.
Yes. And even if they're successful at doing that, on the back end, or if I always have had the problem is like, well, what are they actually doing for people once they get their money? What are they doing once they, latch onto them and go to their seminars and join their courses and stuff, right? And that's why we are so different. Like, don't get me wrong, we're kind of a freight train in the industry, but we're also like anti-industry because of how it is right now, the way you just described it, right? Like you said, most people, when they think of fitness, they think of like tattoos, bald head, screaming, and just flashy Lamborghinis and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, that's what's going to get me in better shape.
I think a lot of people are turned off to fitness because of that mindset. They want to make it seem like it's so hard that they could only do it and you actually can't achieve it.
Right.
It's a little bit in like a true form of a big me, little you.
And they do that, I think, because it's so difficult to do everything you just said, especially consistently, that the only way you could be successful at that is if you continue to pay me month after month after month after month to yell at you and motivate you, to drive you, to push you. And that's part of the plan. Getting into great shape and staying in great shape is not that difficult. So we are results driven with everything that we do. We want you to get the results, and you get the results after 90 days, and then you go about your way and we don't hear from you for a year. That's awesome. That's a win for us.
Yep.
We would rather you get the results you need so you can go handle the business and the family and your life and done. If we're done, that's great. But a lot of these organizations or, there's more influencers than there are professionals inside of the fitness industry.
Yeah.
And what they do is essentially that, is they hook them in with basically like, you have to stay in front of me or you're going to fail type thinking. But that's how they get their monthly recurring revenue, and that's how they do all this kind of stuff. But it's not results driven.
Yeah.
It's MRR driven. It's not the right way to actually help people. So the way we build our programs out and the way that we actually coach our people is with them in mind and their results. Because again, most people have their own, view of what they think health is, right? Not everybody wants a six pack.
Right.
That's cool if like you want that.
I would take one.
Yeah, we'll help you get it, right? Yeah. But we actually like to listen to our people. That's what a lot of these people refuse to do, is listen to their customer, listen to their client. What does this client actually need? How can I actually serve this person, right?
Yeah. I'm an entrepreneur, I own a business, but I call you and I say, Justin, I've got 30 employees and I want to help everyone be their absolute healthiest. I don't have any ulterior motives except to truly invest in my people and help them have good nutritional, mental, and fitness in their life. And so is that a phone call that you would get?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I call you, I need it. I heard about you and I want to engage. What does that look like? What does it cost and how does it work?
Well, first off, I give major props to that owner or that leader, right? Because most people will not think like that. They have the business outlined, they know how they're going to scale, and they're going to drive those people however hard they need to drive them to make that goal, right?
Yeah.
But to the owners or the leaders that then turn around and say, you know what? I know the kind of energy and the drive and the dedication that I need from my team. Let me make sure that I give them all the tools that they need to be successful. Because one, I don't just want to hit my goal and then have them all burned out and quit or move on to something else. I want to hit our goal together and then go to the next goal and scale. And I know that's going to require something like you just said. I think that's going to require a healthier lifestyle. I think that's going to require them taking care of themselves first.
Yeah.
So first, right off the bat, major hat off to that leader, because most people won't do that. But then right away we said, okay, great. Now that we've acknowledged you're doing the right thing, I want to learn more about your goals. Like, what does this organization look like? Is it all office space? Are they out in the field? Are they knocking doors? Like, what is this team, right? So I can better understand where their pain points are. I can better understand them as an organization. And are they virtual? Are they all in one unit? Like, we need to know really like who these people are.
How do you collect that information? Because honestly, and I'm just going through the sales process with you here, thinking about your business, because really the objective here is to really talk about how Earn It All
Yeah.
is going to have massive enterprise value,
Right.
and how you're going to build an irresistible product and offering
Right.
that is going to explode.
So it's a conversation with the leader, maybe
Okay.
HR, owner, CEO, somebody like that.
Okay.
And I want to hear directly from them, right?
Okay.
I want to hear exactly what this organization, how it's structured, and what their goals are, what their people are like, how old are they, like all the kind of stuff, right? But it's a conversation usually. And then from there, it's like, okay, great. This is where like us being a results-driven company is so important, right? It'd be super easy to be like, all right, Vic, here's a program, give it to all your people, like just hammer them, tell them to do this,
Yep.
right? But not everyone's cut the same way. Some people are men, some people are women, some people need to lose weight, some people need to gain weight, some people just need, more tools in their life to know how to eat better,
Yep.
right? And so we come in and essentially analyze your team, analyze your organization, find what the pain points are, and basically fill those gaps with nutrition, fitness, and most importantly, believe it or not, is habits, right? You could have the best nutrition plan and the best fitness plan in the world, but if your habits are sabotaging you, it's not going to work. So we really like to implement great habits along with fitness and nutrition, and then also continuing education. We love to come in, and I don't mean this in like a boring sense, right? We love to run teams. Adam and I were both in the military. He was a Marine, I was Navy. We love to be in front of teams of people. So another thing we like to do is meet with that leader and say, hey, the fitness, nutrition, they're covered. They're going to have the absolute best. Here's why. Here's the science. Here's why it's going to work. Here's why it's digestible. It's not crazy. It's not a 5-hour routine in the morning. This is how it's easy. But then we also talk with that leader and find out, hey, what do you need help with reaching that goal? What does this team maybe falling down a little in this area? Does the team need to be motivated more over here? Like, where can we kind of come in a hidden almost leadership role to help you as a leader fill more gaps? Because as these people get healthier, they get more confidence in themselves, they get more belief. We want to make sure that we stay with them so they know how to use that and apply that to the business.
So are we moving from fitness into leadership training?
We wrap it all together. So they go hand in hand, in my opinion, right? Because as we get stronger, as we get healthier, as we get more confident, we naturally become better leaders. More people want to follow us. And so if you can accept you're becoming a leader by getting healthier and stronger and more fit, and you have someone there that's like, yes, this is your new you, this is your new identity, this is how you handle that,
Yep.
Own it.
Yeah.
That's really why fitness and leadership go together.
I'm going to give you a few ideas I have, but
Okay.
Earn It All, you guys, you market to us, we find you, the connection happens.
Yep.
We become part of your funnel, for a lack of better words.
Sure.
And we're having conversations. And let's just take this company let's just stick with the 30 employee company.
Okay.
Is that a good number?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. Is that, and I'm sure you'll take customers that are, bigger, smaller, but let's just use 30.
Okay.
You're coming in, you're getting to know the people, you're getting to know the business. Are you taking notes? Do you have a notepad? Are you having conversations? What are you doing?
We're doing everything. We're taking notes. I write everything by hand on my day-to-day, but when it comes to something like this, I use a digital document, right? And especially if it's on Zoom, we always record everything so we can go back and see all of that. But then we're also collecting individual data too. So everyone is filling out an onboarding form, medical forms, medical waivers, all of that. And we're taking all that information that we've gotten from the leader, from the group calls and the individuals, and putting that into programs for everybody.
Okay.
So we're actually understanding the individual and the organization and making sure it all fits together.
Okay. So as an individual in the company,
Mm-hmm.
I say I'm one of the 30 employees.
Yeah.
And so you're going to do a full assessment of me. And is that assessment going to be, are we going to do blood work? Are we going to do, background? What all's entailed there?
We're working on a partnership with a company called Vector that does benefits, right?
Okay.
And if they want to have basically a lower ticket, say $50 a month type thing, they're going to get more selection of programs they can choose from and kind of, and make their own plan essentially, right?
Okay.
It's a little bit more hands off. But when we work with somebody like we do at like our $600 level for 90 days, that's when we're
Who's paying $600?
the individual, organization, maybe a combination of both.
Okay.
Depending how they want it.
$600 per person for 90 days.
For 90 days.
So if I have 30 employees,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be spending $18,000
Yeah.
for 90 days.
Or we'll usually chop a group discount. Maybe we'll do 15 flat, right?
Okay.
Something like that.
Okay.
So then when they come in, we get all their information from them and we give them a goal-based plan, okay? So that's going to give them, if let's say somebody needs to lose 30 pounds, okay? We know that they're a man, they're 39 years old, they need to lose 30 pounds. We know their lifestyle, we already know who they work for, obviously. We give them a plan, and we put it into an app that we have put together that makes it all consolidated in one spot.
Your own proprietary app.
We've white labeled an app.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So you open your app in the morning, tells you exactly what to eat. You can mark it throughout the day. You can log it very easily. You click into your workouts, whether you're at the gym or at home, you know exactly what to do, all the sets, the reps, everything. And your habits are right there too. And you can check them off as you go. Also connects to, you said you have an Ultra, connects to your Apple Watch.
Yep.
So we're collecting all this data as well, from steps and all this kind of stuff. We basically make it so the individual doesn't have to think about what to do to get in great shape.
Okay.
Make it super, super easy. And then there's other levels, like when we work with an executive, that's when we get into the one-on-one. That's when we do blood work. We really analyze your lifestyle, especially because there's a lot of travel involved usually.
Yeah.
We help travel. We help set you up for success on the road. And we really dive in and build out fully custom everything. If you're like, hey, 2 days a week, I need to work out in my house. 3 days a week, I like to go to Training Mate in downtown Phoenix or downtown Dallas. And 1 day a week, I like to hike with my dogs. We're going to build that out. That's what's going to show up in your plan.
Okay.
So we have a couple different levels that we work at with people, but we always meet people at their commitment level. If someone's just like, I need access to your resources, your weekly live coaching calls, which we do every Tuesday night, and I want a big library of workouts to choose from, cool, you got that. If you want, on the other end of the spectrum, you need everything taken care of for you, and you want us to really get in and understand you down to the blood work level, we do that as well.
If I'm an employee of one of these companies and our leader says, hey, we want to, we're going to do this program, and I don't want my boss to have all this information about me, right?
Sure.
I don't want him to know that, like, I cheated on my diet yesterday, I didn't make my workout,
Right.
Whatever it may be. And again, I'm just, using that as an example.
Sure.
Is this information kept confidential for the employee, or is it shared broadly throughout the organization? What does that look like?
I don't like to use the word depends, but it's all ours.
Okay.
So we keep it confidential unless that is part of like the team agreement that they want.
Okay.
The owners, a lot of them like to know the data. So we'll do a live call sometimes, and we'll show the leaderboard. We'll show their compliance data. We'll show who's logging their food and their workouts the most, and we can tie incentives to that, kind of gamify it.
Yeah.
But again, if somebody doesn't want that shown, we can keep that out. It's very easy.
Okay. And so you've got this corporate solution, you've got individual solutions. If I'm just a person that's just out in the open and I'm like, man, I'm sick of these guys yelling at me and this, that, and another.
Yeah.
And, I've really seen what Justin's about and what Earn It All's about. And this is something that, feels inviting that I want to be a part of. Can an individual just sign up to
Absolutely.
be a part of Earn It All?
Absolutely. They can go to earnitall.com, and if they like what they see and all that, and they're just like, yeah, this sounds good, boom, click on it right there and we get started.
Why are you different than everyone else that's out there that's in this fitness world, affiliate fitness world? I have friends that are part of P90X and I'm thinking back, but I mean, all these different organizations, and there's so much fitness coaching, there's so much fitness training, there's so many talking heads
Right.
In this area. There's some amazing experts. We've talked about, the Gary Breckes, the Andrew Hubermans, these other folks that are out there,
Yeah.
and they're more educational, right? But when it comes to, I'm going to be your coach, I'm going to be your trainer in the area of fitness. By the way, I become a little bit skeptical when someone says, hey, we're going to help you in every area of your life. That would be like a guy walking up to an F-35 that said, hey, I'm going to handle the avionics and the suspension and the wings. I mean, those are really different animals that are integrated.
That's right.
That are all really important.
That's right.
But when someone says, hey, man, I'm just going to change your life,
Right.
and we have it all, I'm just skeptical of that. Thinking about your business, thinking about Earn It All, I guess my question is, what's different? What's different about your value proposition?
We care about our customers.
Yeah.
Like at a completely different level.
Yeah.
And we,
By the way, I get that
Yeah.
from talking to you
Yeah.
and being here with you and hearing your heart and hearing what drives you in the process. I think you do care about people, but like, I think you need to lead with that.
yeah.
I think it needs to be evident. I think it needs to be known that you care about people. And just telling people that you care about people doesn't illustrate that you care about people.
Correct.
Right? I mean,
Correct.
it doesn't work. I mean, I wish it would, because it fixed a lot of things. But
Right.
unfortunately, you've got to be able to show that. How can you illustrate and show people that Earn It All is not like all these other offerings, and that you have this deep level of knowledge and education, which I see,
Yes.
and empathy and compassion and heart?
Right.
How do you do that? Because even if somebody's a badass and they're tough and they, want to have all this bravado, which I think bravado is like a souffle.
Yeah.
I think it'll just fall over
Sure.
if you hit it, but they want to have all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I've never met anyone that didn't, in the background, really want to engage with someone that has empathy and compassion and heart, no matter what you're dealing with.
Right.
Right? If I'm dealing with a cardiologist that's helping me with my heart, I mean, I want them to be the sharpest, smartest, most confident, educated individual out there, but I also want them to be empathetic and compassionate.
That's right.
And when I think when you're thinking about your body and your health and your fitness and your mind, that you want that, how can you let people know that?
Well,
I want to help you think through that.
it's a very good question. And I think it really stems from showing real results. So for example, we are the fitness arm of a thing called Arizona Entrepreneurs, which is a big networking group out in Scottsdale, right? So the other night we just had an event, I think it was two nights ago we were over there. And instead of going up on stage and us talking about what we do, which we do all the time, we had one of our clients go up there, a girl named Amber, who went up there and told her story to the room, almost in tears on stage. You could hear a pin drop. And people they were coming up to us like afterwards.
Testimonials
like,
are powerful.
Testimonials, especially when they're real. Like before and after photos are cool, but everyone's before and afters are freaking Photoshopped.
Yeah.
They're all BS, right?
Yeah.
So when you get somebody up there that's like, this lady, for example, she was a vegan when she came to us, and she did not feel good. Low energy, like didn't understand what was going on. So we started working with her, started out on vegetarian, vegan, programs.
Yeah.
That's what she wanted.
You just
Meeting her,
snuck a steak in there every once in a while?
Yeah. Hey, what's this burger doing in here, right? Right. Well, this is where, like you said, like our attention to extreme detail and quality of what we provide, especially when it comes to education.
Yeah.
Over time, we started working with her where she was at as a vegan. She was on our coaching calls every week. She's reading our articles. She's learning about how much more amino acids and trace minerals and all these things are involved in these foods that she wasn't eating. And after a while, she's like, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna try again. I'm gonna have a little meat. And she did, and it was a big step. But we supported her along the way. We didn't just say, hey, meat's better, freaking start eating meat. We kind of brought her along. And now she will tell you that she's not carnivore, but she eats a lot of meat every day, basically every single day. And it has completely changed her life. But if we didn't have that level of care and real education behind it, she never would have got there. She would have stayed vegan because, vegans get made fun of a lot, and like it's actually an interesting space because in my opinion, there is not a great reason to be a vegan, especially when it comes to health.
Yeah.
But if you don't actually show people that you're willing to show them why without berating them and talking shit to them, like they're going to stay there and they're going to start to hate the meat eaters, right?
Yeah, of course.
So
I think they do.
They do. But we've shown that we're able to take an extreme example like that, and through our processes and our care and our science on the back end, we're able to bring her around to a different way of eating, not because I own a steak company, but because it's healthier for her.
Right.
And she's the first one to tell you that it completely opened up her mind and blew her mind. And that's why she was on stage 2 nights ago with tears in her eyes saying that we literally changed her life through our fitness program.
Yeah. So you're outcome driven.
Yes.
And results driven.
Yes.
And goals are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But outcomes and results are what are measured.
Yes.
And that's a real example.
Right.
And so, one of the things I would strongly encourage you to do, and I got to meet a couple of your guys today.
Yeah.
And is what I would tell you, there's no doubt that you guys are leading with your heart. And I think it's authentic. Your testimonials from your customers are the outcome and the results. They're gold. And you're really lucky, right? I want to tell you this, you're really lucky, or fortunate, I should say, because you're in a business where the outcome and the results can truly be quantified and seen. Not just the way somebody looks, but how they feel and how they act and how they operate.
Yeah.
And everybody doesn't have that opportunity. I think in some of my businesses, I'm like, dang it, we can't always show the outcome and the results, but you're in a business where you really can.
Mm-hmm.
But I would just encourage you deeply that as you build out Earn It All, the brand, the passion, the enthusiasm, that it's not about you.
Right.
And it's about your team, and that it's about your team, man, showing their heart and showing their vulnerability. And I know that sounds, you're like, man, we're about tough and strength and wellness. And I get it.
I'm with you.
But man, if you could come in to this industry that just has all of this bullshit bravado,
Right.
and you could do it the way you're doing it, which is backed by knowledge and systems and processes. And I think the systems and processes are really, really important. But man, your heart's going to be important because that's where people are going to trust you, right?
Right.
I've got to spend a lot of time around Gary Brecka.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, Gary is passionate and he's full of heart. I'm not a biologist. I don't know a lot about human biology. I'm not one that can say that a cold plunge works or doesn't work. I can tell you I do it. I'm not every day, and man, it's colder than hell and feels like torture. But as what I can tell you is that those that are in the industry that truly are leading with knowledge and with their heart are going to win.
Yeah.
Here's where the hard part comes. How do you scale that? How do you scale that? How do you make that consistent? So I'm an entrepreneur. When I look at your business, I mean, I want my Earn It All shirt. I want my hat. I want to be part of it. But as what I really want to know for you is, what are you going to do to make this have massive enterprise value?
Right.
Because if you're going to attract the best people that have big hearts and want to join in this with you and change, and I don't even know that this is your mission, Justin, so I don't want to put words in your mouth. But for me, I see the opportunity for you and your organization is to bring a completely different way of approaching the marketplace.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that's kind of what is that where your heart is?
It is.
Okay. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No, I love how you keep bringing it back to the entrepreneur stuff and like what are our KPIs? How are we measuring success?
Yeah.
How are we scaling? Because
I want to know how you're going to build a $100 million organization. How can Earn It All be a $100 million enterprise value business in the next 5 to 7 years? That's really what I want to talk about.
I think one common theme you might have picked up on is I kind of think outside the box on stuff.
Yep.
And I'm not scared to consider new things and go in different directions, right? So all last year, we were just basically beating social media and events and doing sales direct to consumer, onesie twosies here and there, right?
Yep.
So what we are doing now is we have partnered up with a company called Break Time U. We're basically moving into their organization because they have direct access to thousands and thousands of companies that they already serve with different products and services. These companies have identified and told us they do want corporate wellness. They want their teams to get better. Everything we've talked about here, leadership, executive training, fitness for the masses. So what I'm so excited to tell you about is that like most people will stay, okay, cool. Last year we did, $750,000, onesie twosies, just selling a program here and there type of thing.
Sure.
And maybe a lot of people would be like, okay, that kind of worked. That was our first year, essentially full year doing this part of the business, right?
Right.
So not bad for the first year. Maybe we should double down on that and take that up, 2x, 3x this next year or something like that. I look at it differently though. I look at we can reach kind of like Earn Your Booze, it was an individual thing until I made it a business. We can reach a heck of a lot more people if we go to this, like you said, kind of enterprise level.
Yeah.
If we go to work directly with organizations and from the top down help their people. So that is our shift over now. So we have basically taken the need to market to the individuals basically out of the equation for now.
Yeah.
And we are directly infusing in these companies. And along the way, we can help and sell them other things now as well. Products, sponsorships, all sorts of stuff at a very large, high level.
Yeah.
And we've done this with a couple companies. So we've positioned ourselves to essentially show that we have the care, we have the science, we have the ability, and we're kind of removing ourselves from that day-to-day trying to go viral, trying to get the likes, trying to get the hook, social media, trying to do that. I think that's kind of the old school way now.
Yeah.
Because when you show that like...
No, that's a great way to build rich.
Yeah, that's cool.
But it's not going to build wealth.
No.
And 100 million, now you're getting into wealth.
That's right.
Right.
And,
if you want to make a couple million, you can play the
Yeah.
social game all day long.
That's right. 100%. This is our way to really create a lasting impact with thousands and thousands of people that we didn't have to market to, essentially. Yeah. So that is a big shift for us.
Okay.
We can talk about that.
Yeah, let's pause on a second.
Yeah, please.
So when I think about scale,
okay,
and I think about you growing the business and scaling the business,
yeah,
I get the concept of having distribution of your product and service delivered through many different other avenues. As an example, you could talk about healthcare providers,
right?
All these other areas where you could do that. And I'm a huge advocate of scaling
Right.
and scaling through distribution.
Yep.
But I believe that a couple years in, and really where you are with Earn It All right now, that one thing you absolutely cannot do is let anyone carry your message except you and your team.
Correct.
The advocacy of you and your team and the brand and the message, nobody's going to do it.
No.
And let me just tell you, unless I missed something so far, you're not deeply focused on technology. Technology is a tool and a resource that's going to allow you to scale your product so it's more functional, so it has better utilization for an end user like me.
Sure.
Right? To do assessments, to keep up with tracking, to engage, right?
Sure.
But the core of what you're doing is really about the identity of who you and your team are.
Right.
Right? It's you, it's Adam, it's Rob, it's everybody else that's on your team.
Yep.
I'm a huge fan of AI.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of technology, like huge fan. Like, I mean, November of 2022, when ChatGPT came out, I swear, like, I wish they had a user list, because I was like, of who used it the most over the next several months.
It was you.
I was that guy,
Okay.
right? I mean, because
Okay.
it is, I am not, as you could tell, perfectly well spoken. I butcher the English language really well, and I also am not a great writer. And so some of the fundamental things that you could learn or use AI for early on, I'm like, oh my gosh, where has this been all my life, right?
Right.
I love technology. Every business I have, we are pressing technology, whether it be ERPs, CRMs, whether it be applicant tracking systems, whether it be anything and everything. I love the tool of technology.
Yes.
But there is nothing that is going to build a business like yours more than the people.
Agreed.
And so you're gold. You're gold. And the problem is, it's the hardest thing to scale, and it's where the biggest capital expenditure comes from.
Right.
Your gold are you, Adam, Rob, and whomever else is on the team that we haven't talked about. I owned one of the first 100 Peloton bikes when Peloton came out.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I love the Peloton. I still love the Peloton. I think it's a great product.
Yeah.
It's awesome, right?
Yeah.
I can tell you why I became loyal to Peloton and why I use the Peloton is because of the trainers that were on the other side. Matt was awesome. I could go through their names. I could tell you who they were.
Sure.
I got to meet some of them.
Cool.
I literally went to New York to go to their in-room studio so I could meet some of those trainers. My loyalty to Peloton was not because of that bike that happened to have an iPad, mounted on the front of it.
Correct.
It was
People.
because of the people and the trainer.
Right.
So I'm just telling you, if your business is going to explode and scale, I would almost be cautious on engaging in big enterprise level relationships that are going to allow it to get out there, because here's what I think is going to happen. I think you're going to get a false sense of failure potentially. And what I mean is, you're not going to see it scale as much as you want because you're dependent upon these other vehicles to scale it. So you're in the early years. You're in the first 5 years of Earn It All.
Right.
And I would just tell you that the goal of this business is going to be the heart and the knowledge of the people that are in it. And I understand that even when you use, let's call them affiliates, even when you use these affiliates to go out and market the product to the marketplace, that the product is still going to be your people.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, in order to conquest the sale, in order to get the deal, in order to get the conversion, in order to close the deal, it's going to be about your people. I'm buying you. I'm sold on you.
Absolutely.
I'm sold on Rob. I'm sold on Adam. No different than that Peloton. I was not sold on that damn bike.
Right.
That seat hurt my ass.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
I wasn't sold on that screen that got a little better over time. I was sold on the individual. And I think it's a great metaphor for your business, because there were a lot of, and by the way, we all like different kind of people, right? We're not all the same. We don't all think like me or you.
Right.
Everyone likes different people. And if you think about Peloton, they did a great job, because if you wanted somebody that was a crazy spastic maniac, they had that cycling coach. If you wanted somebody that was, seemed a little more like you, they had that person, right? But I will say, I felt like part of their core early on was their trainers were inviting, and I, this word feels so soft when I use it, but they were compassionate, relatable, good people.
Sure.
And some of them were yelling at you.
Sure.
But they were yelling at you with a smile, and they had some good music in the background.
Right.
So is the reason I brought up technology is technology levels the playing field. Anybody that's going to be progressive and advanced in business today is going to utilize technology.
Right.
The difference and what's going to make a business go from good to great and to be exceptional is going to be the people. Intentionally break the mold of these assholes that are just out there screaming and yelling
Right.
and going after people and telling them that, you know, if they wake up at 5 a.m. and do these 9 things, by the way, a lot of them have kids, they have jobs, they have carpools, they have responsibilities, and they're like, man, you fit all that stuff in your life and everything else is going to go to hell.
Right.
Right.
That's
and
right.
so
That's right.
I can tell you, I'm very fortunate. One of the things that I know you're passionate about is helping people gain freedom. Right. And we talked about earlier, it's not just about the financial aspect of it.
Right.
Really, you know, finances really provide freedom and convenience more than anything.
Right.
But everyone, you know, it doesn't matter how much money you have or don't have, everyone doesn't have complete freedom of their time.
Correct.
And so, you know, having one of the things I love about Earn It All and what you're doing is you're tailoring it for the individual. And if their day is, hey, I know it would be awesome if I could start my morning out, and you didn't say this, with a cold plunge at 5 a.m., would it be okay if I do it at 7:30 at night, you know, while my kids are doing their homework? I don't think you'd find that to be a problem.
Right.
Right?
Right.
I'm not saying you're even advocating cold. What do you think about cold plunges?
I hate them and I love them and I do them.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Same. I have no
Yeah.
damn idea. I mean, I hear that, you know, they burn the brown fat and that they make all the blood go to your heart and all this stuff. There's definitely something to be said for doing something that's damn near like hitting yourself in the head with a hammer.
Right.
Except you don't have the swelling afterwards.
Right.
Maybe it is the inverse. There's something to be said for that. But, you know, one of my good friends, who's a global, kind of the GOAT of public speaking and personal and professional development, an extraordinary individual. He's been cold plunging for 40 years.
Yeah.
And he thinks it's funny that we're all just getting into it, right? And so my point is, there's a lot of people that have been doing it for a long time that it works for, but I'm always interested to hear, you know, do you think scientifically there's benefits to it?
There absolutely is. I love everything you just said about the people and the technology. What we've been talking about this entire trip has been technology so far, because we have two different two apps that we use right now. We're looking to get something better. So we've been researching like crazy on the absolute best user, interface and all that kind of stuff. Like that's huge for us, especially scaling at this. But I know you're going to be happy to hear that, like, as we go through these different businesses, we're driving the ship of 100%. So the way that we are able to get down and into these businesses is through massive educational media that we inject of ourselves into those companies, and then us direct conversations and pitches with the decision makers. So they don't see a brand. They obviously they're going to see the brand, but like you said, they're buying us.
Yeah, they are.
Like that is huge. Like the last thing that I want is just to be like, oh yeah, like we're cool brand, get our thing, and then just like collect MRR. No, I don't want that. I want to get in there and give these people, no matter how big the scale is, the same level of care and belief and results that we get to one-on-one.
So if I'm a trainer and I've spent my life, this is important, I've spent a lot of my life being committed to helping people with nutrition, with fitness, and really with just being healthy. Okay. And I want to be part of Earn It All.
Yeah.
Like I'm watching this, I'm listening. I align with what Justin and the team are the mission that you're on. I want to be part of it.
Right.
Is there a way for someone like that to engage?
So to answer your question, yes, and we're growing our team right now. Like we are literally bringing new people on as we speak, interviewing new people as we speak. Like you said, I don't need more alpha men. I don't need super strong, crazy guys. Okay. We actually need more females, and we need more really science-based educators.
Yeah.
So we need people that are like true, professionals at their craft. So they can send us an email, they can shoot me a DM. This team is growing with the right people.
Yeah.
Like I've had partners, I know you have, come and go. People come in for a season, or they come in for a lifetime, they come in for a day, whatever. I'm the same way with this. Like you have to be the right fit, or we're going to say, hey, you're cool, we love you, but you're not right for the mission right now.
All right, how are we going to get to 100 million in enterprise value? 100 million in enterprise value doesn't mean that you have to do 100 million in sales.
Right.
Doesn't mean you have to make 100 million in profit. Right. Usually it's some mathematical equation of those. How do we get Earn It All to, call it $20 million in top line revenue, and on a $20 million top line revenue, we could go all over the place with margins. I don't know what you expect your margins to be. a business that is going to be people intensive.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to have people, which people are amazing. They're the most powerful thing on this earth, right?
Right.
Driven by extraordinary technology so you can optimize the business.
Yes.
Is it fair to say maybe we'll use a 50% margin? So your profit margin could be 50%.
Yes.
So you do 20 million in revenue, you have
10.
$10 million left in profit
Right.
in the business.
Right.
There's a lot of ways to get there. It could be, everyone loves to talk about monthly recurring revenue, annual recurring revenue. I can tell you this. We talked about customers, and you brought up something that I thought was very thoughtful and a different approach to your industry. And that's that, hey, if we help someone for 90 days and we help them get their life in the direction they want to go on, they don't have to keep paying us.
Right.
My experience is that when someone's getting value and you're helping them win and head in the right direction and the compass is going the right way, they're going to be excited to pay you forever. It's great that you're delivering value to say, hey, even if someone can only do this for 90 days, we authentically want to help them. We want to be impactful. My experience is, again, if you're providing them, what my buddy Tony Robbins says, irresistible value that they absolutely, cannot deny.
Right.
If you're delivering that, they're going to pay you forever.
That's right.
So
we have many repeat customers especially at our high level. Then it's, repeat 90, 90, 90, 90. They just keep going because of that reason.
Yeah.
Like we've basically taught them what they need, but they don't want to get out of the accountability.
Right.
They don't want to get cut off from the education. They don't want, they want us with them.
Accountability is
huge.
like the greatest blessing if it produces results.
Right. Absolutely.
Right? Accountability with results and improvements.
Right.
Improvement is just gold. So, okay, we got to tackle these numbers.
Okay. Yeah.
20 million top line.
Okay.
The 10 million we can come to in a minute.
Okay.
But we're going to go get 20 million in revenue.
Okay.
Right? You said that technology you felt like was a big way to do that, and I'm guessing that means that there's an app with a subscription.
There's an app with a subscription, but also think about my background in, say, in Lockheed, right?
Yes.
Having multiple people in different professional angles, different areas, right? So one of the things that we are working on is essentially a lot of trainers in this space, they get an app and they use it, they scale it, they do their thing, and they kind of stay right there and stay in their lane, right? Right away, as we built out our current technology that we're using, we see massive ways to improve it.
Okay.
But not just to make our own app, we also see ways to take the top training platform, Trainerize, that we use right now. And if we can figure out, we're working with some coders and some designers right now, if we can figure out how to do a very specific thing on the back end that is not currently possible, that we know other trainers need, that is something we know we could license or sell as a piece of technology as well.
Okay.
So we're always looking at things differently. One, how can we get more efficient and be better for the customer, but also like what technological problems can we solve right now for the current technology that exists?
Okay.
So we see a couple different ways for us to almost become like a tech company in a way, or at least own some IP in the tech world that has massive opportunity to the major like white label players in the space.
Yeah.
So we're looking at all these different angles, and that's why I brought the team up, because I don't just need like 10 trainers on the team, I need Rob's brain, I need Adam's brain. They're very different. They do different things. We have other people on the team that think very differently, that have helped scale businesses. We have tech people. We have people that are looking at different angles of this thing, looking for what you just said. Okay, if we can do 10 million a year in just like selling 597 programs, great. But what are we building along the way that is going to make this just irresistible as a multiple and as a buyout, right? With intellectual property, with real technology that only we have, that we use, that we prove that works, that it could be licensed or sold. And then also like the brand.
There is nothing that you will create that will be more valuable than retained customers.
Yeah.
Right? So if you think about what's the outcome, what's the result, building tech and being deeply vertically integrated into your own business where you have a tech solution is great. But I would encourage you that anything that's around technology is not around solving a problem for the fitness industry around technology as much as it is allowing you to engineer a way to retain your customer longer.
Okay.
How do you keep your customer longer?
Sure.
How do you keep your customer integrated? And I think you're going to end up in the same place.
Sure.
I think that if your goal, because if you think about it, at the end of the day, look, you're not building a tech company.
Right.
You may build a tech company accidentally along the way,
Right,
which
yeah.
happens all the time, and they're a great story.
Sure.
Because now you're trading on a 20x multiple. You're trading off revenue, not profitability. I mean, there's a lot of different deals.
Right.
And I'm not saying that you're not going to do that. I think that you have a great chance to build extraordinary tech,
Right.
because of the disposition and the way that you're going after the industry. I think that you're going to have the ability to even create applications and technology that have the same alignment with that heart factor that your trainers and the people on your team have.
Right.
And I think that's another miss, right? Because when you've got people that are structured and disciplined, that are screaming and yelling at you, driving programmers on building applications for the fitness industry, you're going to get more of the same.
Yeah.
It's going to look a little different because it's technology, but it's going to be more of the same.
Sure.
The collateral opportunity for you is going to be technology.
Okay.
Your ability to have a business, I mean, subscription-based businesses are gold.
Yes.
We don't have to talk about it, right?
Right,
I mean,
right.
they're absolutely gold. The fitness industry may be the inventors of the subscription-based industry. I mean, if you think about, health clubs, I've got a business partner that is a very, multi-billionaire that's been very successful in the health club industry, in the fitness industry.
Sure.
Because of the subscription model.
Right.
I'm in industries because subscription models are amazing, right? I think there's a challenge in the fitness industry, the way that you're delivering it, where there's a very, very high attrition rate. I pay attention to those that are educating the digital marketplace on how to build massive funnels and to be able to generate tons of leads and how to get a ton of revenue.
Right.
I wish somebody would take as much time, not just create customers, but keep customers.
Yes.
Because if you deliver relentless value to those customers and you retain those customers, you're going to get a multiple arbitrage.
Sure.
You're going to get more money when you go to sell your business than if you say, hey, we know how to bring in 100,000 customers a month and to keep X percentage of them. And we know how to do that every month so we can always grow and outrun our attrition, right? Because that's kind of the model you hear about.
Yes.
Is right. It's how to keep that funnel going. When you're standing up in 5 years, talking to someone that's beating your door down because they're like, Justin, we want to acquire your business. And I know, I have a good feeling that is what that means is not only is it going to be a win for you and your family, it's going to be a win for the people that have come along this journey and built this with you, right?
Absolutely.
You're going to share it with them. For them to have that conversation with you and to say, hey, we love what you're doing. We love your business. We love what we see. That's great. But when they get to look behind the curtain and they get to see what your retention rate of customers is, and it's higher than anybody else's in the industry, buddy, you're going to get to control the narrative, the conversation of what the enterprise value of that company is worth. And so if you're focused on technology and making technology more accessible, more user-friendly, so on and so on and so forth, if you say, what's the outcome of all of that? The outcome needs to be retention.
Yeah.
It's all about retention. It's so easy in this game we play with digital marketing, digital media, to say, hey, we know if we spend $20, we're going to get X number. We know the game. It's a
Right.
game. It's a game, and it just keeps going and going and going and going and going. But if you can build it so you're retaining the customer,
Right.
someone's not required to always capitalize the funnel, right? They don't always do it, and it grows organically, and you get massive enterprise value.
So it's almost like if you actually get people results, actually care about them, and have real substance behind what you do, you can get better retention.
I mean,
it's almost like that, right?
Sounds pretty sophomoric. My opinion is that the science in fitness should be the price of admission. If you're going to be a credible, valuable individual or organization in the fitness industry, you should lead with science.
Yes.
Right? And there are some people doing that right now. You're doing that. There are a few other people that are doing that. But here's where the gold is. Here's where the magic is, in my opinion. If you can marry the heart with the science, I think you win. And it sounds simple, but in my opinion, if I'm building a business that's going to be $100 million in enterprise value, and I'm aiming to get that 20 million in revenue, 10 million in profitability, I am surrounding myself with the best Adams and Robs times 20, 30, 40, 50
Right.
that are out there.
Right.
And I am figuring out how to add a relentless level of value to your customer. I have a program called Epic MBA where we help people advance in business. It's kind of a business accelerator. And I remember I was talking to a really good friend of mine that is just a real legend in building businesses with crazy enterprise value. And we were talking about the pricing model and what is the value. And people were saying, Vic, you need to charge $35, $40, $50,000 for people to be part of this.
Right.
And my buddy, who I really take his advice seriously when he gives it to me, he said, hey, he goes, I would charge them a third of that and give them 5 times more value than they expect.
Right.
And I was like, well, that's interesting. And the reality of it is that builds the retention model.
Yeah.
That builds the retention model, because if somebody pays you $30, $40, $50,000 for something, for a year-long program, listen, it's probably going to be difficult. And from a large number perspective, it's going to be difficult to just blow their expectations away.
Right.
Right. But if you charge them a fraction of that, then you're going to be able to get more customers, and you're going to be able to surprise and delight them every step of the way.
Sure.
So that's what I would focus on. Listen, I love what you're doing. I'm super passionate about your business because of the way you're approaching it. I can tell you got a new customer.
I mean, you just gave me so much value from this conversation that, dude, I can't thank you enough for this. It's incredible.
It's a privilege for me to do it, and I'm grateful for it. And I can't wait to talk again and to follow your journey. But Earn It All, $100 million enterprise value business in the making. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
Are you committed to that?
Absolutely.
Okay, full time.
It might be a little small, but yes.
You think you can do bigger than that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Truly do.
listen, I believe you can. So that's awesome, brother. Thank you so much. I'm grateful. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found it valuable, please watch this next one. I think you're going to love it.